This video will define concepts and motifs, define the human condition, and consider questions relating to how this concept is conveyed through the perspective of Holden Caulfield, analyse and answer 3 of these questions, identify and analyse some of the motifs in The Catcher in the Rye. Concepts are the larger humanistic notions behind a story. Motifs are recurring images, ideas, sounds or words that help to explain the central ideas of a narrative. The human condition is defined as the characteristics which compose the essentials of human existence, such as growth, emotionality, aspiration, conflict, and mortality. As such, the human condition is incredibly broad. However, several components to consider are how we live our lives, human nature, and human society. J.D. Salinger explores many aspects of the human condition in The Catcher in the Rye. We will now look at some questions that are worth considering as you're reading the novel. What does Holden think the good life is? How do Holden's parents in Catcher act towards him and his siblings? How does Holden deal with death? How does Holden deal with alienation from the people around him? Does Holden believe in conformity or originality? How does Holden believe we become adults? What is the process of maturation? What is the relationships between different generations and genders in Holden Caulfield's world? Now, in the picture next to this, how should we then live? What influence is most important to Holden? Does Holden believe humans are naturally evil or good? Is law and order or freedom more important for Holden? Is it more important for Holden to be a social being or an individual? Does Holden believe in universal truths? Is Holden selfish or altruistic? How does Holden believe that humans should live together? How do you think Holden would propose that society should care for the weak and poor? Does Holden believe in social equality or hierarchy? Does Holden believe that civilization is positive or negative? How does Holden deal with alienation from the people around him? Holden embraces alienation. In the novel, he deliberately seeks out and antagonises people that will clash with him. Paradoxically, his interior monologue reveals a burning desire to connect with the people around him. However, the people he chooses to spend time with are never going to be the source of a meaningful relationship. During his date with Sally, Holden proposes marriage to her and suggests they run away together to live a simple life in the country. Although this may superficially seem to be the wild, impetuous romance of youth, it is not. Holden is extremely emotionally intelligent and understands the people around him. His proposal to Sally is designed to drive her away. Holden sabotages relationships before people can hurt him. Does Holden believe in universal truths? The 2 truths that Holden believes above all others is that adults are phony and children are innocent. He has the transcendentalist belief that society transforms and corrupts children as they move towards maturity. Throughout the novel, Holden's belief in these truths seems unshakable. However, he seems to soften at the end of the novel as he watches his younger sister Phoebe on the carousel. I felt so damn happy all of a sudden, the way old Phoebe kept going around and around. I was damn near bawling. For Holden, the carousel symbols the passing of time. Previously, he had thought that time was inexorably linear. However, the idea that time is circular brings him enormous happiness, as it means that there is a chance for people to return to the innocence of childhood. How do you think Holden would propose that society should care for the weak and poor? Holden has deep compassion for the weak and vulnerable. This is exemplified in the concern that he shows for the ducks in winter. At Holden's core, there is a need to protect the vulnerable. When he explains to Phoebe that he wants to be the catcher in the rye, he says he wants to catch everybody if they start going over the cliff. Holden's problem with the materialistic society is that it does not care for the weak and vulnerable, instead promoting the accumulation of wealth and possessions. Repetition is an important principle in every artistic pursuit, from music to painting to literature. It gives you another layer of meaning to work with and can add a level of symbolic value to seemingly casual description, dialogue, or action. Holden buys the red hunting hat at a time when he is feeling vulnerable after he left the fencing foils on the subway. The hat makes Holden feel good. I swung the old peak way round to the back. Very corny, I'll admit, but I liked it that way. I looked good in it that way. The hat symbolises Holden's individuality. It is an individuality that Holden feels self-conscious about, and he regularly takes the hat off. However, at the end of the novel, Phoebe actually places the hat on Holden's head, which symbolically demonstrates that she accepts him, just the way he is. Holden is constantly calling the people around him, particularly adults, phonies. This repetition works to emphasise Holden's cynical view of society as inauthentic. Holden has the transcendentalist desire to live authentically. Holden uses the phrase sort of 179 times in the novel. Ackley is sort of a nasty guy. He sort of strikes up a conversation with the taxi driver. He sort of gives Phoebe a kiss. Holden's repeated minimisation of language through phrases like sort of works as a self-defence mechanism. Due to his lack of confidence, he is unwilling to commit to anything, even a sentence. So we're hitting the home stretch now. So just to go back over the key points from the lesson, concepts are the larger humanistic notions behind a story. Motifs are recurring images, ideas, sounds or words that help to explain the central idea of a narrative. The human condition is defined as the characteristics which compose the essentials of human existence, such as growth, emotionality, aspiration, conflict, and mortality. When considering the human condition, explore how we live our lives, human nature, and human society. Repetition is an important principle in every artistic pursuit, from music to painting to literature. It gives you another layer of meaning to work with and can add a level of symbolic value to seemingly casual description, dialogue, or action. And that's it. You've made it. The orchestra music's starting to play, so I need to get off stage nice and fast. But look, if you've enjoyed the video and if you found it educational and interesting, look, please click the subscribe button to the bottom right. Yes, thanks very much for watching.